Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are zooming in on a very specific, a specific slice of time,
Yeah. We're looking at week 8 of 2026.
which is late February. And I know what you're thinking. Week 8, that sounds like a dead zone on the calendar.
Right. The conventional wisdom says this is a quiet time. The Super Bowl is over. Baseball hasn't really started yet. And your March Madness bracket is still totally empty.
It feels like the waiting room of the sports year.
It does. Most people think this is the time to take a breath, maybe catch up on some chores around the house.
But if you look at the stack of reports, the articles, the data we've pulled for today, that conventional wisdom is completely wrong. Week 8 of 2026 wasn't a quiet week. It was loud.
Incredibly loud if you knew where to listen.
Honestly, reading through our sources, it feels like the tectonic plates of the sports world shifted just a little bit right under our feet.
Exactly. I've been calling this the week 8 pivot because if you view the sporting calendar as like a movie script, this isn't the intermission, this is the plot twist.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, this is the moment where the preamble ends and the real story actually begins. We are seeing a massive shift in power balances across the globe, from the indoor tracks of Europe to the basketball courts of the NCAA.
And that is our mission today. We are going to take a snapshot of this specific week, and we are going to filter out the noise. We want to find the signals for you.
Right.
We're going to walk through the highlights sport by sport. So by the end of this deep dive, you, the listener, are going to be the smartest person in the room regarding the current state of play.
And to frame this whole conversation, we need to introduce a concept from the source material called the momentum matrix. It's part of the championship cycle.
Which sounds very cool, by the way, the momentum matrix.
It does sound cool, but it's actually a really practical tool. Look, in any given year, there are moments where you can tune out and not miss much. This isn't one of them. The momentum matrix is about spotting rising stars and tactical shifts right now in February before they become the mainstream headlines everyone is talking about in July.
So it's about predictive analysis, getting the jump on the narrative.
Exactly.
Well, we have a packed roadmap for you today. We are going to cover athletics, specifically the indoor scene. We're going to break down what's happening in women's soccer, both in England and the U.S. We've got to check in on tennis in the Middle East, the absolute chaos of basketball seeding, and even some emerging trends in rugby and futsal.
It's a full slate.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this. I want to start with something that just hits you viscerally. Speed. We are looking at the indoor speed ceiling.
Right. And usually, indoor track is seen as the quiet cousin to the outdoor season.
Yeah.
The tracks are smaller, the air is different. But this week changed that perception entirely.
We're talking about the World Athletics Indoor Tour Gold Meets, specifically the action in Madrid and Rome. The sources describe the meet in Madrid as a masterclass, and the name on everyone's lips right now is Femke Bol.
The Dutch sensation.
She ran the 400-meter, and the way the analysis describes it, it's like she's redefining physics.
She really is.
Yeah.
You have to understand the context of indoor track to get why this week 8 performance matters so much. An indoor track is 200 meters around, not 400.
So half the size.
Exactly. That means the curves are much tighter. And they are banked. They're sloped like a NASCAR track.
Oh, right. So it's harder to run fast.
Much harder.
Yeah.
You are constantly fighting centrifugal force. It throws your biomechanics completely off. It's so difficult to generate and maintain that elite top-end speed without fighting gravity on those curves. So for Femke Bol to go out there in week 8 and run the way she did, it resets the benchmark.
She ran with an efficiency that you usually only see on big, flat outdoor tracks.
She isn't just winning. She is showing us that the ceiling for what is physically possible on an indoor track is higher than we previously thought. I mean, if she's running this fast on a banked track in February, imagine what she does on a flat straightaway in Paris in August.
That's a scary thought for her competitors. But it's not just her, though. The sources point out that this is a rising tide across the sport.
Correct. Look at the 800-meter results from the same week. We have Audrey Werro, the Swiss athlete. Her performance in Madrid is definitive proof that the entire landscape is getting faster. Usually early in the season, you see what we call rust busters.
Like slow times just to get the legs moving?
Yeah, exactly. Easing into the year. But not this year. We aren't seeing sluggish early season times at all. We are seeing personal bests and incredibly aggressive racing strategies. Werro is attacking the track.
And then you hop over to the meet in Rome. This is where it gets really interesting to me. The analysis suggests that we should care about these times in February because of what they tell us about the summer.
It's the battle of versatility. In Rome, we saw multidiscipline athletes,
Yeah.
people who usually specialize in the long jump or triple jump, entering sprint events and posting incredible numbers.
So the jumpers are becoming sprinters.
They are becoming hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, jumpers used sprints just for training, just to work on their explosion. But in week 8, they were posting times that would normally qualify for finals in May. This tells us that the hybrid athlete is the new standard.
Wow.
If you want to win gold in the long jump in 2026, you basically need to be world-class fast too.
So if you are a fan watching this, the takeaway is that the upcoming outdoor season and the Olympics are going to be incredibly fast.
Exactly. The athletes aren't easing into 2026. They are attacking it. If you're waiting for the outdoor season to start paying attention, you are already behind. The benchmark has been set in Madrid and Rome.
That is a great segue because we are moving from individual speed on the track to the complex tactical chess match of soccer.
A completely different type of momentum here.
Let's start in England with the WSL, the Women's Super League. The narrative coming out of week 8 is fascinating because we have two very different stories at the top of the table. First, we have Chelsea. The source material calls them a fortress.
And that word is chosen carefully. In soccer, you often hear about form or flair, but fortress implies absolute stability. Chelsea's key takeaway from this week is on-field synchronization.
Synchronization, meaning how they move together.
Yes. It's not just that they have good players, it's that their unity is cracking the code of their opponents. They are moving as a single organism. When one defender steps up, the others drop back instantly. It's almost telepathic.
Which is incredibly hard to beat because there are no gaps to exploit. But then you look at Arsenal, they seem to be taking a totally different approach.
A very different philosophy. If Chelsea is about unity and the defensive system, Arsenal is about relentless scoring and star power. They are relying on pure firepower. Specifically, the sources highlight the elite duo of Beth Mead and Stina Blackstenius.
The dynamic duo.
Exactly. In week 8, they show that they can overwhelm defenses just by being better individually. This sets up a classic narrative for the rest of the season. It's the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, elite defense versus elite duos. Week 8 clarified that these are the two dominant strategies clashing for the title right now.
Now let's jump across the Atlantic, the NWSL in the United States. The vibe here feels very different. It feels, well, younger.
Much younger. And this is a critical signal in our momentum matrix. We looked at the matchup between the Portland Thorns and OL Reign. The headline isn't just the score, it's the personnel.
The sources mention a massive surge in 18 and 19-year-old talent.
It's a huge surge. And I want to be clear, this isn't a gimmick. This isn't just teams trying to sell tickets by playing local kids. This is a tactical evolution of the American game.
How so? Why the sudden shift to youth?
The analysis points out that teams are leaning into these younger rosters to maintain high pressure. The modern game is all about the high press, chasing defenders down, forcing mistakes deep in their territory. That requires lungs.
It requires endless energy.
It's about recovery and intensity. These teenagers can press for 90 minutes in a way that creates absolute chaos for older, more established defensive lines. They simply recover faster between sprints.
So it's a physical calculation by the managers.
Precisely. If you are a coach, you are trading experience for energy. If you aren't watching the teenagers in the NWSL right now, you are literally missing the future of the sport unfolding in real time. The game is getting faster, so the players are getting younger.
That's wild. It's like a changing of the guard happening live on TV. All right, let's pivot again. We've done speed, we've done tactics. Now I want to talk about endurance. We're heading to Dubai for tennis.
A WTA 1000 event.
Right. And the sources describe this tournament as a springboard. Why is Dubai specifically such a big deal in week 8?
It comes down to the calendar and the surface. Tennis is a game of rhythm. After the Australian Open in January, there's often a lull. Players take a break, they reset. But Dubai wakes everyone up. It's played on hard courts, which is crucial because the tour is about to head to the U.S. for the Sunshine Double.
That's Indian Wells in Miami, right?
Exactly.
So Dubai is essentially the dress rehearsal.
It's the boot camp. The matches we saw in week 8 were defined by grueling 3-set battles. We aren't seeing quick, easy, straight-set wins. We are seeing attrition.
Yeah, I saw some of those match times in the data. They were marathons, approaching 3 hours.
And that is the signal. The expert advice here from the sources is to view Dubai as preseason conditioning for the major American tournaments. If a player can survive a 3-hour match on the hard courts of Dubai in week 8, that is the strongest possible signal that they are physically ready for the high stakes of March.
So if you're a fan trying to predict who wins in Miami, you're looking for who has the legs right now.
Precisely. You don't just want to see who lifts the trophy in Dubai. You want to see who isn't gasping for air in the third set. That's who you bet on for the Sunshine Double. It's all about physical resilience.
I really like that. Who has the legs? Okay, moving on to a sport where legs and nerves are everything. Basketball?
The seeding wars.
That sounds dramatic.
It is dramatic. We are rapidly approaching March Madness in the U.S., and Week 8 is when the panic truly sets in, both for the selection committee and the teams on the bubble.
The sources identify a big three in the NCAA right now: South Carolina, Stanford, and UConn.
The usual suspects, but they're playing at an unusual level. In Week 8, they put up massive statement wins. Basically, they are telling the committee, don't you dare rank us lower than number 1. They are completely separating themselves from the pack.
But, and here's where it gets really interesting for the tournament, there are disruptors.
The chaos agents.
Iowa State and Marquette.
These are the teams you need to circle on your bracket right now. They might not be the household names like UConn, but they are pulling off upsets right now in Week 8 that are going to ripple through the tournament next month.
Why are they so dangerous? What's their secret?
Because they play a style that ruins the game plan of the bigger teams. They are gritty, they rebound incredibly well, and they do not back down from a physical matchup. They are proving that the gap between the big three and the rest of the field might be a lot smaller than we think.
So if you're filling out a bracket in a few weeks, remember Week 8. Remember Iowa State.
Absolutely. But the basketball story isn't just happening in the U.S. We have to look at the EuroLeague.
Yes, the EuroLeague explosion.
There is a long-standing stereotype that European basketball is slow, methodical, entirely defensive. Pass the ball 10 times around the perimeter before taking a heavily contested shot.
Right, the boring narrative.
Week 8 completely shattered that. We saw an offensive explosion.
Teams like Fenerbahce and USK Praha are putting up incredibly high-scoring nights.
The analysis here suggests a fundamental shift in European play toward a faster, much more aggressive style. They are running the floor. They are taking early three-pointers in transition.
It's almost becoming more American in its style.
In terms of pace, absolutely yes. They are realizing that high-octane offense wins games. So we have a seeding war in the U.S. and a massive style shift in Europe occurring simultaneously. It's a phenomenal time to be a basketball fan.
It really does feel like everything is accelerating. The track times, the soccer press, the basketball scoring.
Everything is speeding up.
Okay, we have covered the major headline sports, but part of a deep dive is looking at the things people might miss. The sources included a really interesting section on building the future.
The developmental phase. This is often where the smartest organizations do their absolute best work. In the shadows, away from the main spotlight.
Let's talk about rugby. Specifically, England's strategy.
England is playing a very long game. We call it the depth strategy. In Week 8, they had some important mid-season test matches. But instead of just playing their absolute best starting 15 to secure an easy win, they rotated the roster heavily.
Which usually drives fans crazy. They just want the win on Saturday.
It does drive them crazy, but it's short-term risk for long-term reward. They are testing their Tier 2 players in actual, meaningful mid-season matches. The goal is to ensure that when the World Cup cycle really heats up, they don't just have a starting lineup, they have an army.
They are essentially just
building redundancy, exactly. If your star gets injured in the World Cup, you don't panic, because the backup played significant high-pressure minutes in Week 8 of 2026. It's about viewing the season as a multi-year construction project, not just a series of weekend games.
And speaking of construction projects, we have to mention futsal.
Futsal is fascinating. For those who don't know, it's fast-paced indoor soccer. It's played on a hard court, usually 5-on-5, with a smaller, heavier ball that doesn't bounce as much as a regular soccer ball.
And the sources highlight a massive rise in futsal in South Asia and the ASEAN region.
It is exploding over there. But the connection the expert analysis makes is that this isn't just a niche sport growing on its own. It is serving as a breeding ground.
Like a technical lab for future soccer stars.
Yes. Think about it. Futsal demands incredible technical footwork. You are in tight spaces, the ball is heavy, the game is incredibly fast, you have to make decisions in split seconds.
So it forces you to get better at controlling the ball in traffic.
Exactly. By investing heavily in futsal, these regions are technically developing the next generation of outdoor soccer stars. It improves their touch and their vision in a way that playing on a large, sometimes bumpy grass field just doesn't.
So if you want to know where the next global superstar is coming from in 10 years, look at the futsal courts in South Asia today.
That's the theory. And the data from week 8 absolutely supports it. The skill level over there is skyrocketing.
Okay, so we have covered a lot of ground today. We've been to Rome, London, Portland, Dubai, and beyond. I want to try and synthesize this for our listeners. We started with the idea of a momentum matrix.
Right.
If I'm a casual fan, or even a really dedicated one, how do I keep track of all this without my head spinning? I mean, we've thrown a lot of data at you today.
It can be overwhelming, but the source material provides a brilliant tool for this, a performance tracker system.
Okay, break it down for us.
It's a simple mental workflow. 3 steps to filter the noise when you are watching sports this week.
All right, walk us through it. Step 1.
Step 1. Identify the benchmark. Don't just look at who won the game or the race. Look at the numbers. Like the 400-meter time in Madrid.
Huh.
Was it a record? Was it a personal best? The number tells the story of the intensity.
Okay, identify the benchmark. Step 2.
Step 2. Track the rotation. This applies mainly to team sports. Who is actually on the field? Are we seeing the 18-year-olds starting in the NWSL? Is England rotating their rugby squad? The roster tells you the strategy. It tells you whether they are trying to win at all costs right now or if they are building for later.
Got it. Track the rotation. And step 3.
Step 3. Note the surface. Context is everything in sports. A win on clay is very different than a win on grass. A win on a banked indoor track means something different than an outdoor straightaway. You have to contextualize the result based on the specific environment.
So to recap, benchmark the numbers, track the players, and note the surface.
If you do those 3 things, you stop just passively watching sports and you start scouting them. You start seeing the game the way the coaches and general managers see it.
And when you apply that to week 8, you get this massive aha moment that the sources talk
A
about.
common thread.
Yes, speed in track, tactics in soccer, endurance in tennis, scoring in basketball. What connects every single one of these?
The fact that every sport is peaking earlier than expected in 2026. The level of intensity usually reserved for April or May is happening right now in February.
That is the big takeaway here. 2026 is not a year for slow starts.
No, the train has completely left the station. The athletes are pushing the physical and tactical limits earlier in the calendar than ever before.
It's really amazing how looking at one specific week can reveal so much about the entire year ahead. We promise to make you the smartest person in the room regarding global sports momentum, and I feel like we've handed over the cheat sheet.
We certainly have. The road to the 2026 championships is officially paved. We can clearly see the path now.
Before we go, we always like to leave you with something to chew on, something a little provocative to take into your week.
Here is my challenge to you. We covered a lot of different sports today. Athletics, soccer, tennis, basketball, rugby, futsal. I want you to pick one sport discussed today that you do not usually follow.
Oh, I like this.
Maybe you're a die-hard basketball fan who never watches indoor track. Maybe you love tennis, but have literally never seen a futsal match.
Step completely out of the comfort zone.
Exactly. Apply the momentum matrix to that unfamiliar sport. Watch just one highlight reel this weekend. Look for the benchmark, crack the rotation, or note the surface, because the global growth of sport is happening in the places you least expect. The most interesting stories aren't always on the main channel. They are hidden in the sports you aren't watching yet.
I love that. Expand your horizon. Go watch some futsal or check out those banked curves in Madrid. You might just find your new obsession.
You definitely won't regret it.
That's a wrap for our Week 8 deep dive. Thanks for learning with us. Keep an eye out for those signals, and we'll catch you on the next one.